Our next guest on The Informer is the Executive Director of the AIS, the Australian Intercultural Society. His name is Ahmet Keskin. Ahmet, welcome to The Informer.
Thank you.
We had a chance to catch up in the past, but this is a brand new opportunity. A couple of things to talk about. Ramadan, the holy month of Ramadan, has come and gone. It's extraordinary that one of the biggest occasions, one of the biggest celebrations of the year for the Muslim community in Australia was seriously challenged by COVID-19. How did you cope with having to basically stop what you know and understand, and what did you do in its place?
Well, to answer that, let me just quickly describe what we would have done in a normal world. We have a range of
Had
programs.
the whole community come together.
Correct. So we have our signature event where we invite people from all walks of life to our Parliament House or a Victorian Parliament iftar dinner, where it's a setting where people, like I said, of all walks of life come together. We have a range of institutional iftars with universities, Ambulance Victoria. We've done it with Victoria Sport, the judiciary.
And this is all part of your mission statement, to bring the various communities together each and every year.
Correct. So we're about strengthening mutual respect and understanding between people of diverse communities through meaningful engagement. And we see that platform that we provide during Ramadan, where people do come together over a dinner table in a dinner setting, is an opportunity for people to get to know one another. So in a normal world, we would have been sitting around a dining table, whether it be at a function hall or in someone's home. But on this occasion, because we weren't able to bring people together in physical spatiality, we brought people to an online connectivity.
So you went online, much as The Informer has done. How was that received? What was the major strategy? Did you have a particular program that you decided to run with?
So we have a sister organisation in New South Wales called the Affinity Intercultural Foundation, and they were able to get a virtual studio set up where we invited people to come online to join a conversation about what life is like during lockdown, during the COVID era, and just share experiences and stories of what life was like and what they're going to do, what they're itching to do once
the
they get back.
individual Ramadan experience was shared on this virtual online program.
Correct, yeah.
What did you discover? What did you learn during that experience, that whole month? Because you would have had an array of guests from all over the world. In fact, I think you did take it around the world, did you not?
Yes, we did, and you're the host for a couple of the programs, so thanks for that. What we saw was, the common theme that we saw was that people were longing for that physical connectivity, because we are social beings. We do get the best out of each other when we do interact with one another rather than remotely interacting. I mean, some people are introvert by nature and they enjoy that time out.
Yes.
And some people have a very fast-paced life and they've always been yearning for that time out, or that period where they can sort of kick back and relax a bit.
And reflect. Yeah, which is the whole purpose of Ramadan.
And that's right. And Ramadan and the pandemic was the great disruptor, which allowed people to, for those that can work from home, for those that can sort of step back a gear, were able to do that and reflect and bring out a sense of community. And that's what sort of come across during these conversations, that this sense of community has been reignited. People are not just saying hello and goodbye to their neighbour. Now they're having meaningful conversations, getting to know one another, and running errands for those that do need assistance. So that's what sort of came through in some of those conversations.
We had, during one of these Ramadan conversations, an opportunity to talk to the member for the Northern Metropolitan Region, Craig Ondarchi. And one of the things that he was telling us about was how they were going out with organisations like the Salvos, Second Bite, and they were feeding up to 1,000 people who were in need. And I remember the thing that not haunted me but affected me was when he said, I said to him, how do you feel about that? He said, I would have liked to have known how many more needed our service, but because of cultural reasons might have felt embarrassed to put their hand up and say, we need assistance. Did you find that heartwarming that so many people reached out during that time to assist?
Absolutely, and to see that a large portion of that assistance was provided by people of a multicultural background was heartening. So the Turbans for Australia, with their great run of providing food for the needy. During the month of Ramadan, Muslims are encouraged to be more charitable, and I know a few people, and as a collective effort, who have gone out and also offered food packages to people that were in need. One person in particular sponsored the production of Gözdeme, and with the assistance of the Salvation Army, we were able to hand it out to those who are homeless, who are looking for their evening meal. So it's great to see that the community spirit has come out during this time of the pandemic. But the important thing is obviously to be mindful of that moving forward once we do get out of this COVID period.
So you took what was the holy month of Ramadan, you were denied the opportunity to come together as a community, but it didn't stop you or the organisations, because it's a number of them under this banner of the Dialogue Institute of Australia. Now you guys have been doing some terrific work, as you touched on earlier, building bridges, talking, bringing meaningful communication and pathways between the various ethnic communities that make up our modern Australia. It's 20 years of the AIS, 20 years of the Australian Intercultural Society. You must have started when you were about 10.
I had a few more hairs than what I have right now, George, but...
What did you feel like 20 years ago? Did you think you'd be 20 years on and you would have achieved what you have achieved? Because it's been remarkable, the work that you've done.
So what sort of drove me is that my community activism started during my university years, and what we did was we banded together to establish a community school. So I'm ex-New South Wales, and the story there is that we banded together to establish that community school. After the establishment of that, we realised that we need to have a more of an outreach into society, and we said, well, how can we do that? How can we provide a platform for people to come together and be who they are and have that cultural exchange take place? So we established the sister organisation.
Break down the barriers.
Yeah. So the Affinity Intercultural Foundation was established in that pre-9/11 world, just like the AIS. But I just want to share a story about the Affinity's genesis
Journey.
And why it was important that we did that, we established it at the time that we did. So we came together in the year 1999 and we formed our organisation, the Affinity Intercultural Foundation, in the year 2000. And he said, well, what can we do? There were three of us. What can we do to provide those platforms of engagement? Orban Gallipoli Mosque, which was built in the form of the Blue Mosque in Istanbul, very beautiful in terms of its architecture and a great spectacle. We approached the administrators and said, could we conduct a mosque open day? They initially rejected that idea because the mosque was recently completed and launched by the Premier of the day, and they were like, why should we open this mosque up to non-Muslims? So we said, well, it's a great way to showcase the cultural angle and give people a chance to come and ask questions. So after a bit of a negotiation, we got the consent from the administrators to conduct an open day where the Affinity Intercultural Foundation ran it through their volunteers. And the date that we picked was September 3, 2001.
Wow.
So we had a modest 113 odd people, I remember the numbers, walking through the doors, and we gave them a guided tour and really an opportunity for them to ask questions. So we had that dialogue.
So a week before September 11th.
Correct. So 9/11 comes and goes. When the anger turns to wide, the mosque starts to field a lot of these requests. Well, a request also, people want to know why. Where does it say in your scriptures, go on planes and blow up buildings? So that initiated our journey into this dialogue, and a lot of our early days were in the interfaith area, but over time we branched out to include the intercultural domain. And throughout the years, like, we've been instrumental in with the Mosque Open Day. It was the first Mosque Open Day in New South Wales, first in Victoria here by AIS. And the next station, or the next major project that we were involved in, were the iftar dinners. So back in those days, no one was inviting non-Muslims to participate in the iftar dinners.
We had no idea.
Exactly. So we said, through that, those interactions that we had, we said, why don't we invite our friends at a dinner table during the month of Ramadan to share this moment together, because sharing the providence that's been given to all of us is a duty incumbent upon all.
Again, extending the hand of hospitality. And opening up your community to others. Ahmet Keskin, I can say to you, the thing I've watched with great joy is that although you've been disrupted, seriously disrupted by the COVID-19, you've kept adapting, you've kept looking at ways to keep, importantly, the community together and certainly informed and entertained. And I think you've done it tremendously well with some of these new initiatives. We wish you another 20 years.
Thank you.
Come soon and tell us some more about the next initiatives that are part of the AIS or Affinity.
Love to, that would be great.